Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Harry Muppet. We are going to be casting a 1v1 league game. Just a 1v1 game here. It is going to be between two Masters slash Grandmasters level players, and this was taken from the RSL series of games, the Russian Starcraft 2 League. And up the top left side of the map, we do have Polt, otherwise known as Polt. I think CM Storm may be the, I don't know, but we have seen Polt in quite a few things before. Actually, I'll just Alt-Tab and go have a look at them real quick. Yes, I know I'm not doing a very good job of keeping up on exactly what everybody else has been in, but yes, Polt, where is he? He was actually in the Zotac April Grand Final going off against Snoot, so very, very good job he did in that game, and I can't remember whether he won or lost. So if you want to know whether he won or lost in the Zotac April Monthly Cup, you will have to go check those games out. They are on my channel. And down in the bottom right side, we do have our teal Zerg player Symbol, and I don't believe I've cast a game from him yet, but yes, it should be extremely awesome to see him play. And yes, both these guys are Masters players, so we are going to see some awesome play between them. Now, I haven't been doing much lately. You guys probably won't notice, because with the lag going on, actually I finished the casting the rest of the DreamHack like last Sunday, so about 4 days ago now, but I'm only halfway uploading them, so by the time I finish uploading them, it'll be next week, and this game will be able to come out straight after them. So I'm just building up again to get some stuff going so that I don't slow down too much. But I have taken a bit of a break from casting just to just because I cast so many DreamHack games. It wasn't really any serious pressure to get some games out, but we've got to get back into it now, and yeah, keep on going, keep on trucking. And here we go. We've got about the correct timing for these to come up at exactly the same time, so it's a fairly good Zerg strategy. We'll see if he pops out two queens at once when he gets those out. The Terran player is getting a nice fast command center out. This is very, very fast. Actually, I think this was before the barracks went down, but he's not going to be building it out at his actual expansion. He's just going to be building it up the top of his ramp and then flying it over. So yeah, that should be fine. And wow, there we go. Bit of lag going on here. Steam's complaining in the background or something. I probably should have shut that down before I started this, because Steam's such a pain in the ass at the best of times, but I guess there would be so many games I couldn't play without it, so can't complain too much. Scouting SCV going around. He's finally going to come down and see this. The Zerg player hasn't found the Terran, and the Terran player hasn't found the Zerg, but I think they both have a pretty fair idea of where the other person is right now. But there's nothing really crazy that they're going to go in and see. And the Terran player is going to go in and they're going to see something. I'm not sure if you can actually see something building here. I think the shimmering pool means that an upgrade is going through, so we can probably assume link speed coming through. And yeah, that's pretty sweet. I think that guy died. The queen coming back up to here meant that there was no chance at all of that SCV dying, but he did get a scout off on the back, so a Bailing's Nest, a Roach Warren, anything of that sort would definitely have been seen if it had existed, but it doesn't exist, so yes. Terran player is going to be very happy about that. And look at this. We got to talk about this map for a second here, because this map is completely insane. I haven't seen it before. I don't think it's in the regular pool of maps. It might be, but it just may be you'd never see it in 1v1 play, because this is a massive 2v2 map, it looks like. I don't believe this is a 4v4 map. It looks like a 2v2 or a 4-person free-for-all map, one of those sorts. But yeah, beautiful watchtower in the middle with these little gaps all over here and these little bridges all over the place, so that's pretty awesome. Now the main base is quite big for a main base. You got this huge area over there, not much on the right side, but a nice bit of cliff over there. So there's not too much danger of somebody running up from the side and just like Reapers or anything like that. There's a little bit at the front that can go up though, so that's not too bad. Now this is going to be extremely good for the Terran player. He can he could put some siege tanks up there, and the siege tanks will be able to cover almost this entire area. And they're pretty good at, yeah, just not, because they're on the high ground and everything is on the low ground. From a defensive point of view, this base is extremely good for a Terran player. And I suppose it's good for the Zerg player as well. You can get a nice bunch of Hydras out there, maybe even some moves. Spore Crawlers up here would be extremely good if he gets the creep up, because the range on those is going to be so huge. But then again, for the Zerg player, it's not too much, because, yeah, he's got to expand to a third really quickly. We can see if he's already done that. That's going to be, ooh, blue flame on the way. That's not something we see very often, but I guess he saw the Ling speed coming out, so he's thinking, alright, the Zerg is actually making a solid move towards Lings, although the Zerg player has been going Roaches since. Must have missed the Roach Warren going down, so a bit of a tech switch, but regardless, the blue flame is going to allow these guys to just roast a crap load of drones all over the place. So it's still going to be extremely useful. They are running in here, or are they not? I really can't say. It looks like they're going to make a push for it. They're going to go for as many of these guys as they can. Not going to wait for blue flame, but I don't blame them for that, because their window was decreasing every single second they waited. That's right, they get a nice push from there, and they're going to go around. They're going to go for the third base, it looks like. 2 queens at the third base though, so this is not going to be good for the Terran player. He's most likely going to lose all of those Hellions if he keeps trying to attack the drones. But finally he pushes away, and he just manages to save that one by the skin of his teeth. Yeah, so good job there, and the Zerg player man just getting right back onto it, building the drones instantly back, all the ones that he lost, so he should be fine. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about this. I mean, this is another nice defensive position. You can get your forces up here, and you're fine there, but... And there's the rocks here, and the rocks there, so it's sort of a big cross thing, so you go like that, and then you can go like that, and you can go around this way, which is around this side, or you can go through the rocks in the middle around to that side. So yeah, it's going to be a bit hard, but if the Terran player pulls it off nicely, you can get 2 bases. You turn this area into just a kill zone, and then you just have to defend this ramp and this ramp and this ramp. So I guess there's still 3 ramps, so it's possible to do it, but yeah, it'd be very scary. But the point is, you've got the high ground advantage at all 3 positions, which is, you know, it's not something that you can just say, well, high ground advantage, who cares? I mean, it is. Alright, excuse me for a second, I'm just going to get rid of this guy. Go away. Actually, I might as well just shut down Steam while I'm at it, because I have a fairly good idea that is just sucking resources off me. So there we go, and that should hopefully make things a little bit speedier, a little bit less lag. And yes, I really need to get around to getting a new computer sometime soon. These guys, they do have blue flame, which gives them a bit more possibility of doing damage, but not really. I think the blue flame just increases their damage versus light. Is that right? I really can't remember. It used to be it just increases the damage versus light, but if we have a look at the upgrades, he must have cancelled it. Very interesting. He obviously decided the blue flame was not going to be any good for end game, and yeah, he was probably right, because he saw the roaches coming out, so he's like, alright, the Zerg player is not going triple M or anything, he's going for a roach tech. So yeah, blue flame not going to be that good, and he's got to push out here with the Widow Mines, tanks, marines, and the Hellions that he already had. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very nice unit composition here. Got a couple of Marauders as well. Should be more than enough to take care of the roaches. There are quite a lot of roaches here, but yeah, I think the Terran player should be alright. He's got the tank numbers he needs, and he's got some buffer units in the form of the Hellions, and then the Widow Mines and the Marine Marauder. And yeah, I think he should be fine. It's going to be a bit difficult for him to push in though, because if the roaches do a massive push when the tanks are unsieged, then it's going to be fine. Oh, this is a brilliant move by the Zerg player. He's needs to get a scan off. There he goes. The scan goes down. This roach is going to be obliterated. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how many minerals that scan is worth. Probably a few hundred. So yeah, the roach using up a bit of a scan probably paid for itself. And here we go, as another scan, trying to see if he can get in range or just trying to see the army composition. He sees the infestors now, and that is going to be something he's going to be a little bit worried about. And we're going to see a drop over here. They're going to stim off real quick to take down that overlord. And he's maybe hoping to drop in there, but he might be a little bit disappointed because there's already a couple of spines back there. And meanwhile, some infested Terrans being thrown down. And that was a genius move there by the Zerg player. That tank got instantly wiped out by splash damage. These guys moving around, I do not know why, but the rest of these forces are going to get taken out by the roaches. And I think he pulled a fair amount of his forces back there, so leaving those tanks relatively undefended. And yeah, some excellent play from the Zerg player to take those out. And meanwhile, the Terran player, he's lost a few tanks there. He's a bit on the back foot. I cannot imagine that he purposely sacrificed those tanks, but it doesn't look like he's building anymore, so maybe he's stopped worrying about the tanks. He's going for vehicle weapons though, so that may just be for the Widow Mines though. He may just be going for triple M plus Widow Mines, which we've seen a lot of players do in pro level games recently. What sort of rocks? These are the ones joining it up, so he wants these down so he can have a nice creep highway between his bases, so he can easily back up one base when the other one's getting attacked, and so on and so forth, because he knows the Terran's pushing in on both sides and he wants to be as fast as possible in defending them. There we go. A couple of Widow Mines over here. He's going to attack this force. This force coming in. They should be able to do a bit of damage, but this Roach push, along with a couple of Hydras, is going to scare this Terran army away quite easily. They're back up though. They're going to try and take out this force. This force taking some very nasty fungals, and that is going to put the end to their dream of taking this hatchery down. They were very, very close, but not quite going to happen. It was so close though. What the hell? There's just one Ling over here harassing this base. The Terran player trying to move over to this one, stretching out a bit wide instead of taking this other base. Which, you know, I mean, is the Terran players pushing in hard from the northwest, but a bit more north than west sort of direction. So setting up a base over here, yeah, it makes a little bit of sense, especially when since his army is a bit more north than west, so he can kind of defend that a bit easier at the moment. And yeah, this Zerg army, man, is getting very, very scary. The Terran army is getting quite scary as well. They've got 2-2 upgrades. The Zerg has 2-2 as well. So it's going to be very awesome. The Zerg catching the Widow Mines a bit unprepared, but they burrow down fast enough. They do have the upgrade to burrow down. And they get a couple of nice hits on the Roaches. The Roaches, so bulky, have so much health that, yeah, I think 3 Roaches went down and they each took a direct hit from the Widow Mine to kill them. So the splash damage didn't really do that much to the Roach army. Luckily it didn't hit any Hydras because they would have taken a significant amount of damage, though probably not enough to kill them. And meanwhile, a drop coming down over here. It was very nice to see this base and send the drop out, but the full army is coming over to reinforce this location. And I'm quite sure the Zerg will want to get creep over there ASAP. Because, yeah, that base is quite wide open at the moment. The army, you can see how long it takes to get over there. And with these forces over there, it's quite easy for him to move back over there anytime he wants. So yeah, he'll definitely want to get the creep going for that 5th base. And meanwhile, the Terran player, he's got his 200 army out there. He's got his tanks, he's got his Marine Marauders and Medevacs and Widow Mines. And he's going to move out and see if he can do some damage. And the Zerg player, he's got the movement advantage. But I think with, how many tanks has this guy got? 5 tanks. Yeah, it's going to come down to some nice fungal growth, because I think Roach Hydra is just not going to be enough to just overwhelm the Terran player anymore. Not with this amount of tanks, not with this amount of Marines and Marauders. So he's going to have to get some nice fungals off as well. And yeah, maybe we'll see some Viper movement as well. Vipers, of course, an extremely potent force going up against tanks, because they can put down the blinding cloud and the tanks basically become useless. Couple of Widow Mine hits there. The Zerg player thinking about moving out, but he's going to run back as the tanks start to siege up. But here we go, there's the Broodlords coming out, and I was not expecting this. He's going absolutely nuts, and the Terran player is going to have to get some Vikings out. He's getting a couple there, but he's actually going to be capped out fairly soon, so yeah. It's interesting. A small Roach hit force coming in there, and they're going to start attacking this base. The Terran reinforcements might be enough, but meanwhile this force coming back in again to this very exposed Zerg base, and they managed to take it out and get away scot-free, so excellent job there by the Terran player. Meanwhile, these roaches just push on and push in and do all sorts of good stuff. They went straight for this main base. And yeah, they've done quite a good job. I mean, each of them had about 3-4 kills, so yeah, some good stuff. Income-wise, though, the Terran is not suffering any from that really hard push there from the roaches. He may have lost a building or two, but actually, I think did he save this? I don't know. I think maybe he didn't. Maybe it's just rebuilding. But there we go. A couple of Vikings coming out. Some Ravens coming out as well. So that's going to be excellent. He really needs, Ravens or Vikings to really take care of this. And the Zerg player has got to be careful because Vikings are an excellent counter to the Broodlords. And the only way we've ever really seen Broodlords work for the Zerg player is if he's got a massive amount of Corruptors as well as the Broodlords. The Corruptors take out the Vikings. And then, yeah, it's a pain in the ass for the Marines to get across. And my god, I thought for a second he might save that, but no. And the Terran player is just completely ignoring this base. He's going to run through as fast as he can. He's going to start hitting the Zerg base nice and quick. The tanks, however, they're going to run back. They're going to go back and defend the main base, I assume. He managed to save a whole bunch of a small amount of roaches coming up. The main amount of forces, though, coming back. And they're getting some beautiful fungal growths off now. And I'm not sure, but I think the Terran player is probably regretting not keeping his tanks up there. Because, yeah, they could have done a lot of damage to this Roach Hydra army. And a very, very big defeat there for the Terran player, man. He went in there and he did not really get the stuff he needed to do. And these Marauders, man, they're just going to go nuts forever. But the Queen is also transfusing this building to keep it alive. Some reinforcements coming over, managing to save it. Meanwhile, this building, I think they landed a new one. But the Roaches are going to take this out as well. It lifts up. And this SCV is not going to be able to save it. I don't think. I would assume these Roaches will kill this SCV. And there it goes down. So that command center is completely screwed. He's trying to get another base over there. But the Overlord does see it straight away. He's creeping down. And that is actually going to stop the missile turret from going down. So that is not good news at all. But the main thing is this army. And the Terran player, man, he's actually scrambling to get some battle cruisers out. He's thinking battle cruisers are the answer to Broodlords. And yeah, they will do a good job. But the Hydras, man, the Hydras are going to do an excellent job versus the battle cruisers. And really, Vikings would have done an okay job. But he just, I don't know, does he still have the Vikings? He does. He has got 8 Vikings lying around somewhere. He never used them before. And battle cruisers is a pretty crazy move, man. If he gets them out in time, they could swing the entire battle. But that's a big if. I mean, there we go. Get in there. Just start wiping them out. The Hydras are going to do a push in to try and take these air units out. I don't know if they're going to be enough. The siege tank's tanking out the Hydras. But the Hydras are doing quite a bit of damage here. There's quite a lot of Hydras, actually. And they're doing an excellent job at wiping out the Terran Air. The Terran Air trying to get in a position where they can take out the Broodlords but not get screwed by the Hydras. But the fungal growth is just going to be absolutely locking them down and doing massive amounts of damage. And yeah, Broodlord Hydra Infestor really doing an excellent job. The Hydras and the Infestors doing a great job at taking out the Vikings and the Ravens. But here come the battle cruisers, and the Hydras are just going to eat these guys for breakfast, man. The battle cruisers have no chance. Even some infested Terrans, so not infested Terrans, fungal growths coming down on the battle cruisers, but he really doesn't need them too much. Some reinforcements going to come out, going to start hitting a lot of the Hydras down, but a couple of fungals are going to clean those guys up, and there goes the 3rd battle cruiser down from that group of Hydras. He's got a small force coming in here, but yeah, just some regular reinforcements going to take them out, and I don't think the Terran player has anything left to throw at this Zerg player. The Zerg player has completely just gone absolutely nuts in this game. And yeah, the Terran player is pretty much just going to have to GG. He's just too far behind. He's lost all of his mining bases at this point. And it's basically just a GG. So we're just going to sit here and we're going to watch these awesome Broodlords shoot these buildings. And the Terran players shoot these Broodlings until somebody gives the GG, which I'm guessing is going to be fairly soon. There we go. He's got a couple of Vikings out. Maybe this is the hope that he's praying for. Get a couple of Vikings out to shoot these guys down long range. You might be able to take out one, but the Hydra's moving in. And this back and forth is not going to work for the Terran player because the Broodlords are so beefy. 225 health, and the Vikings are not that beefy. Only 125 health. And I think the Hydras do a bigger DPS than the Vikings. So yeah, definitely going to be in the Zerg's advantage. But yeah, this game, man, the Terran player, he's really holding on tight here. I can't see him having any hope of winning this. I mean, the Zerg player doesn't know about this base, but even so, man, 19 versus 52 is just going to be too little, too late. The Zerg can constantly throw a massive amount of units at the Terran player, and the Terran player is barely hanging on as it is. So, yeah, this is almost certainly going to be a GG, and we're just going to wait, I guess. We're just going to wait and see, and we might as well actually speed it up a little bit. Just to see all these buildings go down, speed it up a little bit more. The Hydra's running around, taking out a crap load of stuff. Terran player really doesn't have much. He's moving out a couple of forces in the middle, but here comes the main thrust. The Zerg is just going to move in, just going to destroy everything. He's lost a few Broodlords actually. He's only got 2 left, but the massive amount of Hydras, man, the Terran has nothing to deal with those anymore. I think his tank numbers are just completely gone. Yeah, there we go. So he's just got these small forces. But Zerg reinforcements, man, chasing those guys away without much problems. And there go, all the buildings go, man. And there we go, he left the game. I'm not sure if he GG'd or not, but yeah, there we go. Excellent game. We have seen some Broodlords in previous games, but not from Symbol. And the only successful Broodlord attack I've ever seen before has been with Corruptors by the side. But I would have thought, without Corruptors, that the Terran could just overwhelm me with Vikings, but he didn't have a crap load of Vikings, and he never got that beautiful position off. The Hydras just ran in there, and he didn't have the tank support. At the end, he was just lagging behind in the economy, and I still think that Hydra Broodlord is not going to be a severely successful sort of a tactic, because against an even army, against a Terran player who knows what he's doing, he would have Vikings and tanks and Triple M to sort of do a bit of a buffer. The Triple M would get hit by the Broodlords, they'd back off, the Vikings would come forward, the Hydras would come forward to attack the Vikings, and then the Triple M would move forward, engage the Hydras, and the tanks would just wipe the Hydras out. And 6-7 tanks against this many Hydras, man, they would all get wiped out. And the Vikings would be okay. The Triple M would certainly take some hits from the Broodlords. They'd certainly take some serious damage, but I don't think it would be critical. And I think the Vikings would, they'd probably stay alive, most of them. Maybe not all of them, but certainly enough to take the Broodlords out. And Vikings are quite cheap compared to Broodlords, so I think he would be fine. But yeah, at the end, when this force came in, he just did not have enough stuff left. He was madly going for battle cruisers. Actually, no, that was before that. He had like 8 Vikings, but yeah, he's just not in a good position. The Vikings had to move right up here, and then the Hydras just moved in there, and he did not have the tank numbers. He maybe had 2 tanks at that point, but it just wasn't enough to take out the Hydras, and all the Vikings went down, and that was the end of the Terran player. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching this game. And yeah, we're going to go see some more pro games out soon. I'm going to go see some more tournaments out soon as well. I've got the Zotac May monthly May monthly tournament to cast, and I'm going to get stuck into that very soon, probably this weekend actually. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I'll catch you guys then.